Timely resignation of our Premier, Comrade Sihle Zikalala, on Friday. It is correct to give context on the occurrence of the past week so as to assuage the perception created by some sectors of our communities, media and armchair critics. From the onset, it is imperative that we give clarity on the decision by our Comrade Sihle Zikalala that he was never pushed to resign, but made an offer to us as the leadership, which we firstly declined. However, he made much persuasion which compelled this leadership to accede to his decision as our senior and the cadre of our movement. As much as we disagreed with his offer to resign as the Premier, we felt that it is important that we considered his decision and we respected it, and eventually we agreed that he resigned. We can assure the people of our beautiful province that there is no acrimony as a result of his resignation. As for the movement, we still have a lot of responsibilities that need his experience as the leader to serve our people, and he has agreed to work with us in the provincial government. We are revolutionaries, and there is nothing we know except the ANC and serving the people of our country. Therefore, we have no doubt that all of us have a responsibility in the organization. We will always be indebted to him for the work he has done in the ANC and in the ANC-led government. As this leadership, we have a responsibility to consolidate unity in the movement as we advance to the general elections. Our focus is more on our revolutionary task to position the entire ANC government to deliver services to the masses of our people in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Our strategy is to ensure that we turn the tide against unemployment, fight against gender-based violence and crime. Accordingly, we as the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal submitted 3 names of Premier candidates to the national officials. It is public knowledge that as the ANC we submitted the names of Comrade Nomusa Dube-Ncube, Comrade Amanda Pani-Mapena and Comrade Mbali Fraser. The NEC assessment sought to ascertain and ensure that there was a deployment of the best and the most competent cadre as the Premier of our province to serve the movement and the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Indeed, it was a smooth sailing process completed in 1 day, and the results came back to us as the provincial leadership, of which today we are here to announce. We submitted the names of these comrades based on their experience, and this was a true character of the ANC, which believes in gender equality. In this province, we have been grappling with gender equality since our nation came into being. As the ANC, we have made a lot of strides to ensure that women occupy strategic positions and in broader society, and steadily filling up with women. We have to fight patriarchy, which persuades the stereotype that women are powerless and have to survive through dependence of men. We are a generation that aims to secure equal rights for women and remove gender discrimination, while promoting full equality with men. This is a very crucial day for the ANC, as we are making history by introducing officially and announcing the first woman Premier-elect to the people of KwaZulu-Natal. We know that non-sexism is embedded in the ANC very cause mission. Indeed, we pride ourselves that during Women's Month, as the ANC in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we have moved one more step ahead to the realization of women emancipation and the founding principles of the Freedom Charter. Today, it is our great pleasure to announce to you Comrade Nomusa Dube-Ncube as the Premier nominee. She is not new in the leadership position, as she previously served in various positions in the organization and in the government. Born in KwaMashu, Comrade Nomusa Dube-Ncube is armed with a master's degree in public administration, and she currently pursuing a PhD in University of KwaZulu-Natal in one of the world acclaimed university, which is one of the best in terms of research output. She served as the speaker of our metro, eThekwini Metro, before being assigned to the foreign mission as the ambassador to the Czech Republic. She was previously with the Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Environmental Affairs as the member of the Executive Council for COCTA for 10 years. Comrade Nomusa Dube-Ncube currently serves as the MEC for Finance. As a liberation movement, we have rejected the notion that women get relegated to second-class citizens. In this in this leadership, you will understand that women comrades are not mere numbers, as you might also notice during the 9th Provincial Elective Conference of the ANC. For the first time, delegates made history by electing our comrade deputy chairperson of the province, Comrade Nomusa, as the first ever deputy chairperson who is a female. We are committed to changing the material conditions of the people in the province, with women comrades at the helm of leadership. Since the ANC took over the provincial government after the general elections in 2004, we have been able to extend service delivery and development to marginalized communities. The entire ethos of government have changed from a passive and unresponsive approach to a responsive, participatory and developmental approach. As the ANC government, we have also expanded the community works program, built and maintained roads, bridges, stormwater drainage, water and sanitation facilities, public recreational facilities and other local economic development infrastructure initiatives. We have also upgraded households in informal settlement and delivered more houses and service stands to poor communities. It is for this reason that the ANC believes that having a woman premier will also ensure that we are up to the capacity and the skills that Nomusa Dube will bring in dealing with issues of service delivery. We want to improve the public participation and accountability to our people. It is also very important that we strengthen local economies, thereby creating jobs, fight poverty, unemployment among the youth and women in the province. We would like to thank the ANC deployees for their loyal service to the movement and the people of KwaZulu-Natal. We have no doubt in our minds that the people of KwaZulu-Natal, in their overwhelming majority, will renew the mandate of the ANC in 2024 in order to continue to see proper development in their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there will be questions, we are ready for questions.
Can you stop? Sure.
Saba, can you manage questions?
My question, SABC number 1, Mota from Sunderwell and News 24. 3 for now for the chat.
Okay.
My name is Bosima Kosing, SABC Radio News. The ANC is known to be following demographics whenever they elect leadership. This time around, do you have anyone that is in the PEC that reflects the PC reflect demographics in the province as well? And also, are we likely to see even the cabinet following a similar suit as well?
Mota?
Just Nabil from News 24. Just in terms of the criticism of Cecil Zikalala, you guys just mentioned that the new leadership didn't want him to leave. So, there was a lot of criticism of his leadership from civil society, from opposition parties even, particularly with outstanding forensic audits. What's your reaction to that, to a large sector of society wanting him to have left? But you guys, what was the reason for wanting him to stay? And maybe just one more, in terms of the mandate for Nomusa Dube-Ncube, what is your main priority as the ANC KZN leadership heading into your tenure? What sort of instructions would you have given to her?
Okay, when to start? All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'll take the last question that Kavi asked in relation to why is the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal did not believe that the premier should leave. Look, any deployee or any leader of government will have issues that he or she has with the society, but we broadly believe that the matters that were brought and made to be of his own capacity were actually really issues that come from, that are organizational, and we do not believe that in terms of government he had done a bad job. In fact, when Comrade Zikalala took office as a premier in 2019, the provincial government had only achieved 2 clean audits. And one of his main responsibilities, and the first thing that he gave instructions to the government at the time, was that we must make sure that we change the way we account for the funds of the society. As a result, there was a program that was called Operation Clean Audit. And this financial year, the provincial government received 7 clean audits, and that's a huge difference from the 2 that he picked up, or when the 2 that was there when he came. And there's a number of programs that he initiated when he came into government. So as this leadership, we do not believe that he did not do well in terms of government, but we also understood that when we were elected, we did not have a mandate to come and change government. It was not our time to eat, so to speak, because Comrade Zikalala is a member of the African National Congress. He's a leader of the ANC. By the way, being a leader in the ANC is not about being elected only. It's also about your own history and how long you have served in the African National Congress. So when we were elected into office, at no point did we want to change and say, it's our time now, we must be able to pit our own people. No, not at all. And we do not believe that society has really been totally fair in treating him and assessing him. I just made that one example, and there is quite a number of other things that we believe actually he did very well, and he led correctly within government. So when he said he would like to resign right at the beginning, we had a proper meeting amongst ourselves and said, no, we don't want you to resign, we want you to finish your term, because it's the ANC that actually put you there. If you remember, on our first interview, Comrade Begimtolo also indicated that the 5 of us were part of the PEC that actually submitted the name of Comrade Zikalala to the NEC. So we can't now suddenly change our minds about him and his capacity, because we've always been part of understanding and believing in his capacity as a premier. I think there's 2 others. I will just stop on that one. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Makudwa. Greetings to everyone.
And we take you out of that briefing by the KwaZulu-Natal ANC PEC, saying that Zikalala was never pushed. He offered to resign, and he'll continue to work with ANC provincial structures. They have the first female premier, Nomusa Dube-Ncube. Of course, a story that will continue to progress. Let's take a break. We'll be with you in a moment.
Friends, if the conference has not elected someone from the national groups, then it's a duty of the PC to ensure that when we do the extension called the co-option, we do co-opt them. So I think it's the reality. But you might find that almost all sectors ANC has deployed in the strategic pillars, those coming from the national group. So even in this PC, just rest assured that we will co-opt the national group so that they'll be part and parcel. Even in our mobilization strategy, they will form a component, and strategic sector must always be outlined as such. So I thought you wanted that, and I think Makudwa has already outlined the strategy. And the ANC as a movement, when they deploy to governance, they just make sure the consistency, what has been achieved. In terms of service delivery, I think a lot has been achieved under the leadership of Comrade KZN, and we are thinking right now Comrade Nomusa will just hit the ground running, take it from that level, because we are one ANC, and her assignment in particular will just to ensure, address the issue of the imbalances of the past, create new growth, if possible, enlarging the scope of ITALA, because TALA should be licensed so that the issue of loans amongst our youth they must access. I think you know these days, currently the banking sector is not driving a transformational agenda. Comrade Nomusa is also the embodiment of someone who could also drive the issue of unemployment. And in terms of women emancipation, I think she will strengthen that role. She will be able to work with Abo Mame Makaya, Emma Lokshin in urban stream, because characteristics she is able to understand and adapt clearly on what is required by the communities and address the issue of crime, the issue of women oppression. I think we've already highlighted through this statement, if you can just check a background.
No, thanks. I think there's something that is raised by, I think it was Makosini from SABC. that the opposition parties were unhappy about Comrade KZN. I don't know why they should, particularly I've also heard the leader of the IFP was unhappy. I think they are unhappy because they are angry that for 10 years they've been in charge of KwaZulu-Natal. They have never did anything for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. That's why now they see that for the first time you find under the ANC government from 2004 we've built best schools in KwaZulu-Natal. We've made sure that clinics are built in the remote areas. Electricity has been rolled out in areas of Umsinga, for example. They were there, they've been in charge of government, but they've never did anything. If you come to KwaZulu-Natal, for example, the most underdeveloped district and the most poorest district in the country is Zululand district. Why it is poor like that, it is underdeveloped like that, is because it has never been out of the IFP hand. It has been under the IFP hand. And the people of KwaZulu-Natal, they know that. That's why they are not making any progress there, because where they are in charge, where they've never been removed, you see poverty when you go, you see underdevelopment when you go. Then they are just angry that yes, they make sure that the ANC-led government is doing things that they failed to do while they were in charge. By the way, they are not only in charge, they have been in charge in KwaZulu government. They did nothing, to be honest.
You can take another
side. Commander Goke from ANC Karinda, Newsroom Africa. Any other hand? Evelyn Pungula, Daily News. In that order, colleagues.
Commander Goke wa EMCA, has the officials of the ANC and the PEC given the premier nominee a mandate to reconfigure the executive? If so, does that include the deployment or inclusion of two officials, that is the provincial chairperson and the provincial treasurer? And when do you expect the legislature processes? I know this question should go to the Speaker of the Legislature.
Too soon, Commander, too soon.
Well, according to your plan, dependent on the legislature, when do you expect that the process will be finalized in terms of nominating and electing the premier inside the legislature? Thank you.
Thank you. A few questions. I'm not sure if the premier-elect, I guess, can speak to us, but if there is just one issue that you would like to tackle with a tangible step, can you maybe share it with us now? And then, Mr. Duma, this is the first time you're really addressing the media in your capacity. Firstly, in your new deployments going forward to various MECs and legislature, how are you going to actually deploy? Are you looking at political positions, or are you really basing the people that you're deploying on what they can give to that certain positions? I just want to clarify, because we see a lot of political deployments. That has been an issue. And then, I mean, if you can just share for us, why didn't you consider yourself as a nominee for this position?
Mr. Kongola?
That question will be answered by me.
Yeah.
Mr. Kongola, you come out. Thanks. Leadership.
No, maybe to start with that one. You see, Unopala, I know will cover it, but we can't expect the chair to deploy himself. And we are not here for deployment, we are here to serve. That is why when the chair, he couldn't say, just because we are elected, then the chair must be the premier. We looked at many things, and we are very confident in Comrade Nomusa. As the chair was saying, we'll hit the ground running. And she's ready for the task. We are confident that she's going to serve the people of KwaZulu-Natal correctly. As for the other things that Uspamanda was asking about, we have not given our nominee any mandate, so you will need to wait for her to second office, and anything else as the ANC, one thing you must know, we want to put the people of KwaZulu-Natal first and make sure that every process that needs to be followed is followed. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much. Questions to everyone. We're here to announce the Premier elect. I think we must understand that we're not dealing with the issue of executive. As the Premier elect, she was an MEC for finance. For sure, now you know that will be one vacant post. Then will allow the Premier to apply her mind in terms of the Constitution of the Republic. We don't, this, by law, the Premier is the one who appoints executive, be it MECs. I think let's allow that process. And in terms of election of the Premier, it's a process of legislature. We will, from the ANC point of view, we've just announced the Premier elect. Will then allow the processes of legislature from legislation to take a process of it. I think it was important to say that we were dealing with that matter. There is no, the chair was elected by the branches of the ANC KwaZulu-Natal to lead the ANC, not to lead government. Those are two different things. As the chair is leading the ANC, and we're happy from where we're seated, and the other issues we're going to deal. By the way, he's the chair of chairs in legislature. He's deployed by the ANC. I don't understand the other deployment that we are referring to. I think it's important that we stick to that. And also the question that was raised on the geographic in terms of ANC. The PC members that were elected by the membership or branches across the province, irrespective of which corner of the province. And I think we're fine with that, and we'll respect the decision of the branch delegate to a part of the provincial conference. Thank you very much.
No, thanks. I think one should mention, I think I did mention, I think it was an interview with Pamandla, but journalists sometimes it slips on their memory, some of these things. We said when we're processing this thing, in the official there are two MECs already. Comrade Nomusa is an MEC for health, Somuga is an MEC for Kokta, but on their own they said, we don't think we're ready for Premier. Well, let's give somebody who's got an experience. Duma said, I'm not ready to pay Premier. Then it was an easy sailing process because they said, you are not ready for this thing. Let's give somebody who's there, who have been there, who's seener than all of us, who have been, who will be accepted by the people of KwaZulu-Natal and all that. And then it was a sailing process. It's not that these comrades are not there for themselves. They are there for the people of KwaZulu-Natal. Yes, I know we may be looking like young kids who can't think. But unfortunately, we've surprised many because for the first time, we have submitted 3 names, females. We're clear that we want a female candidate. We're clear on that, whatever outcome. And then we know that the one we've submitted and the one that has been endorsed is the best amongst us and all that. Then, of course, I think Comrade Nomusa is correct that let's allow, once the processes are done, the Premier to allow the Premier to apply her mind. And then comes to the ANC and say, remember, this thing started at that level. It doesn't start from the ANC. Start from there to allow her mind, say, I'm here now. I think that's how I think we need to go forward. Then we will work a smooth process like that. And then you will be informed about those decisions if they do happen. Then let's wait. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Spamandla from Gwaswaiman, Marisburg.
If I may come in, Spamandla, I was going to say too soon. That was just going to be too soon. However, I think the leadership has responded adequately to the matter. The only point I wanted to speak to is the matter of having a female as a premier or a premier nominee. We are way behind time on that. As the province of KwaZulu-Natal, we really needed at some point to make sure that female leaders are given the opportunity to lead. They have the capacity. They have proven that they can actually lead. So when an opportunity presented itself, albeit too soon, because we probably didn't think it was going to happen now, we probably would have done this in 2024. But when an opportunity presented itself, we said certainly this is the time for us to actually make sure that female leaders are given the opportunity. Comrade Nomusa, as you would all know, I mean, Comrade Nopala was just tabulating some of the areas where she led. She has been a speaker, she was a chief whip in the legislature, she was MEC for COGTA, she was MEC for economic development, and in all the deployment that she has been deployed in, she has led very well, not fairly well, she has led very well. So that is what we wanted to recognize. And by the way, it's one of the mandates that conference gave us as this leadership, to make sure that when we talk about gender equity and gender equality as the African National Congress, members of the ANC wanted to see that in practice, and this is what we brought to you today.
Thank you. There was a question as well, what are the tangible things that the new premier will do if given a chance? Comrade Nomusa is deployed by the ANC, and the ANC has the resolution from the conferences, different and tangible things, the issue of expropriation of some strategic land, make sure that you create a conducive environment for business to thrive, make sure that you deal with unemployment, make sure that you deal with inequality, make sure that you deal thoroughly with poverty, ensure that the issue of rural empowerment is done, women emancipation, and the APPs and the budget has been done already. Comrade Nomusa is going to be proceeding what has been started by the ANC. So don't think that she will be encompassing new things from her concept. She will be implementing the ANC policies to the T. So I think we must outline that strategic. And the comrade has already mentioned and managed some perception that has been created by the media that as an individual you can just drive a show on your own. We as the collective should implement what is the outcome of the ANC conferences. She will just be seen around moving in tertiary institutions, making sure that the students are equipped thoroughly for the fourth industrial revolution, as already the chairperson has already mentioned this side. I think we can just hold it at this point in time, comrades. Yeah. Let us thank the media for affording us this opportunity. There's still more questions.
Now you can bring many questions, and so like we can answer any question.
Just one bite, one last round of questions. No, just hold on. Let me start with Willem Pungula and you young men. And then you follow the last questions. Thanks. Sorry, Willem. There is one question that was asked leadership from Karinda, which was not answered.
Oh no, I had another question.
She was asking tangible things.
Yeah.
So we dealt with that.
No, but you will follow them. Let's start with Willem.
Thank you, sir. That's not, I was trying to get hold of Nopala. I don't know whether we can have a spokesperson now.
No, we are with me now.
That's what I'm told, no
I was a complainer.
We are with me now.
I was trying to get hold of.
You wanted to get news before time.
Usembizweni Phungula, Mdlovu, asikho embizweni.
Sorry, you may come here.
My name is Tandababa from Eyewitness News. These things of young men, I don't know. Can we get some remarks from the Premier-elect, please?